Okay, let's be real for a sec. Staying focused these days, it's like a superpower, right? With all the pings and notifications and like the world just wanting a piece of our attention constantly. But good news. Today's deep dive is like a cheat code for our
I
brains.
like that. A cheat code for focus.
Right. So we're digging into this awesome YouTube video breaks down Nir Eyal's book Indistractable.
Right book.
And the mission here, not just learning about distractions, we're going to walk away with tools we can actually use, like right now.
Exactly. And it's not about becoming some kind of like hyper-focused robot either.
Oh, for sure. The video it uses this phrase I love, distraction versus traction.
Catchy, right?
Super catchy. And it's like a subtle mind shift, but it's powerful.
Totally. It's not about eliminating every distraction, more like making sure our actions match what we actually care about.
Okay, so get this. This is where it gets kind of wild. The Soros IL's research says 90% of distraction, it's not even from the outside world.
Yep.
Right. Wait, so hold up. You're telling me it's not my phone's fault. I can't focus.
It's more nuanced than that. Think about it. Those kind of uncomfortable feelings we all get, like boredom, anxiety, just that afternoon slump.
Yeah.
We try to escape those feelings, and bam, we're reaching for our phone or whatever. The source calls those internal triggers.
Ooh, internal triggers. Okay, that makes sense. Suddenly I'm seeing like patterns in my own life.
And the whole point is to spot those triggers, then get some strategies to deal with them. That's where this 10-minute rule comes in.
10-minute rule. Okay, lay it on me.
It's not about denying yourself those little distractions. It's about delaying gratification.
So like if I'm working and suddenly I'm dying to check social media, I just wait 10 minutes.
You got it. And it's amazing how effective that can be.
Seriously.
Seriously, those 10 minutes, they give you this pause, and in that pause, you become aware of the trigger. You make a choice instead of just reacting.
Whoa. It's like hitting the pause button on my autopilot brain.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And during that pause, you can try techniques like surfing the urge. The video talks about that.
Surfing the urge. Okay.
It's about acknowledging the feeling, but not letting it control you. Kind of like mindfulness, right? You're just observing. The source even suggests keeping a distraction notebook. Track those urges and get more awareness.
Like being a detective, but for your own mind. Cool. This whole thing, it makes me think about willpower. You know, is it really this like limited resource like we always hear? It gets tired and stuff.
Ah, the willpower myth. Well, this source, it challenges that whole ego depletion idea.
Wait, so you mean I'm not just doomed to have terrible willpower?
It seems willpower is more adaptable than we thought.
Rue, that's a relief.
But it's interesting. The source does say that people who believe in ego depletion, they often experience it.
So my mindset about willpower, it actually affects how strong it is.
Seems that way,
Yeah.
which ties into this whole traction time boxing thing. It's how we intentionally design our days for both work and the stuff we enjoy.
Time boxing? I feel like people hear that and they think it's like this super rigid schedule, but it sounds like it's more than that.
Way more. It's about choosing to make time for everything work, fun, all of it. And there's psychology behind why it works too. Like implementation intentions. When we plan specific actions, we're way more likely to do them, apparently.
Makes sense.
Plus, time boxing makes you better at estimating how long things really take.
So it's a win-win. Okay, I'm digging this. The video also talks about pacts, like how to make traction actually stick. Sounds like we're holding ourselves accountable, but like in a cool way.
Exactly, like a self-made accountability system. And the source breaks them down into 3 types: price, effort, and identity. Each one's a different approach to staying on track.
Price, effort, identity. Okay, I gotta know more about these pacts. This sounds like it could be a game changer.
It's like choosing your own adventure, but for fighting distractions. So price packs, they're all about consequences. Like Nir Eyal, the author, he used to tape a $100 bill to his mirror to make himself work out.
Whoa, $100. That's commitment.
Right. He figured burning calories was better than burning money.
Smart. And it doesn't have to be like a ton of cash, right? It's the principle, what matters to you. Okay, what about effort packs?
Effort packs. Those are about making distractions harder to get to. The video mentioned Eyal having his internet shut off automatically every night, 10 p.m.
Oh, wow. So like building in those little barriers.
Exactly. Makes the path of least resistance lead you straight to traction. They mentioned an app too, Opal, I think it was. It does something similar for social media. You tried that out, right?
I did, yeah. I was kind of skeptical, but honestly, just that little bit of friction, it really works. Stops me from mindless scrolling at night. Gives me that pause to be like, wait, do I actually want to be on Instagram right now? Or am I just on autopilot?
That cause, right? That's where the magic happens. You go from reacting to deciding. Speaking of, any other packed strategies you've been experimenting with?
Haven't taped any money to anything yet, but I do put my phone in another room at night now. Simple effort packed, but man, I sleep so much better.
Right. It's not about being perfect. It's about finding what works for you and building up those habits.
Okay, let's leap back to time boxing for a sec. The video really emphasized that it's not just for work, right? It's for everything that matters to you.
Totally. It's about taking control of your time and deciding how to spend it. Work, creative stuff, relationships, even just chilling out, taking care of yourself. It's all in there.
I feel like the word time boxing can sound kind of rigid, but it's more about creating a framework, right? One that actually supports what you care about, what your goals are.
100%. It helps you line up your actions with your priorities. And the best part, you can tweak it to fit your life, your style. There's no one right way to do it.
This whole conversation is making me think about shoulds versus musts, you know? Like we tell ourselves we should do all this stuff, be more productive, work out more, eat better, but shoulds always feel so heavy.
Shoulds usually come from the outside, right? Society, other people. But musts, those are rooted in what we actually value, what truly matters to us.
Yes. And it's so much more motivating when it's a must, you know? It's like, this is important to me, so I must make time for it.
And suddenly, that to-do list, it's not so overwhelming anymore. It's about making choices that fit with who you are, deep down.
It's like decluttering your schedule, but for your attention. And it's got to be an ongoing thing, right? Life changes, our priorities change.
For sure. Life's always changing, right? And so are our needs and goals. The key is to be aware of that and have the tools to handle it all.
Speaking of tools, this deep dive, we've got a whole toolbox now. The 10-minute rule, surfing the urge, time boxing, these packs. It's like a whole arsenal for taking back control of our attention.
And it's not just random productivity hacks, right? It's all based on like real psychology, understanding ourselves better, making choices that are actually good for us, that help us grow.
Which brings us to this last pact, and honestly, this one's kind of mind-blowing. The identity pact, this idea that we can actually shift our identity to be more like the person we want to be. That's powerful stuff.
It really is. The source, it talks about how strong our self-image is and how what we believe about ourselves, it shapes what we do. Like, if you think you're a procrastinator, guess what? You'll probably keep procrastinating.
Oh, man, that's so true.
But if you shift that identity to writer, artist, whatever really lights you up, you'll start acting in ways that support that new you.
It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy, but a good one. You see yourself as a writer, so you make writing a priority, even when it's tough. Because it's part of who you are now, not just some item on a list.
Nailed it. Matching your actions to your identity. That's serious motivation. It's not willpower anymore. It's becoming the person you want to be. Closing that gap between who you are and who you're striving to become.
Okay, so how do people actually do that, that identity shift? It can feel kind of scary to just be like, boom, I'm a writer now, or I'm a healthy person now.
This whole thing about identity packs, it really has me thinking of how much our beliefs matter. Like, if you really believe you can change, you probably will, right? It's true. There's a ton of research on that. And this source, it also talks about how important it is to know why we do things, not just what we do. Connect our actions to our values. That's where the real change happens.
So, like, it's not enough to go for a run just because we think we should. Got to know the deeper reason why.
Right. Maybe you value health, feeling good. So that run, it's not a chore anymore. It's self-care. It's showing up for what you believe in.
Makes sense. It's like shifting from, ugh, I got to do this, to this is part of who I am. But how do people figure out what their values are in the first place? That's going to be step one, right?
Yeah, good question. The source didn't have like specific exercises for that, but they did talk a lot about self-reflection. Taking time to think about what's truly important to you, what kind of person you want to be. That's a good place to start.
Sounds like a good excuse to break out the journal, or maybe try one of those meditation apps.
Totally. Journaling, meditation, even just being out in nature, you know. Quiet time to connect with yourself. That can help a lot.
This whole deep dive, it's been eye-opening. How our attention and our values, they're connected. It's not just about getting more done. It's about living a life that feels, I don't know, more on purpose, more fulfilling.
Beautifully put. When we choose where our attention goes, we're also choosing what we value, saying yes to what matters and no to all the distractions that pull us away from that.
So we're wrapping up here. What's the big takeaway you want people to walk away with?
Remember this. You're not a helpless victim of distraction. You get to choose where your attention goes. We talked about the psychology behind it all, the tools we can use. Now it's about taking that knowledge and using it. reclaiming your focus and designing a life that actually matches what you care about.
It's powerful stuff, realizing we have more control than we think. And to leave you with one last thought, the source kept coming back to this idea. Lasting change happens when you line up your actions with your values. So take some time to figure out what those values are for you, because in this world where everyone wants a piece of our attention, knowing what truly matters, that's the ultimate compass. That's what will guide you towards a life that's more focused, more intentional, and more fulfilling.